The world today is running a race of development and advancement at breakneck speed, with prosperity at the finish line. But in this crazed hurry, too much more than often, we tend to forget those who run with us, or who at least wish to. Those who still might not have moved an inch from the starting line. And there are many more still living around, but unknown to us, with a flickering hope of finding someone who would care for them. 15 years ago, it was the story of one such mother and her children which moved Bhagwan Baba, the avatar of the Kali. And it was then that he willed to shake the long-still world from its slumber, and thus began a movement that metamorphosed into a mammoth project which came to be known as Grama Seva. But then, what was the story and how did it all begin?
Starting with sometime in October 2000, September and October early, Swami had asked all faculty members, everybody from Prashanti Nilayam school, everybody should come to Bhajan Hall. So we were all waited and Swami looked around, and then he made the statement that you all must be wondering why I called. The reason why I called all of you is that sometime back I read that a mother who could not afford, because her husband passed away for some time back, and she couldn't take care of her two children. The condition was so poor. She had to give poison to the two children who were very young, 8 and 10. And then she also consumed because she couldn't stand they not being there. Just because she's not able to afford to bring them up, give basically like one meal a day at least, she committed suicide. I mean, a lot more write-up was there, and then Swami showed the newspaper clipping. Then finally he said, in Bharat, the place of Annapurna, if this is going to be the fate of people, I don't know how many such people are committing suicide. I think we need to do something. We were all wondering that, what is that we can do to overcome a problem of that size and magnitude of a country that Swami was talking about. Then we were also waiting for Swami to provide a lead, what is it he has in mind. We waited and Swami said, see, I want you to go to villages around here and I want you to serve them. Then Swami said, I want you to go and give my prasadam to all the people so that they'll feel that there's somebody caring for them. So this is what the whole genesis is. And then Swami said, now holidays are coming, so make all the preparations, and then whoever wants to go home and let them go and come back. After you come back from vacation, we'll have the Grama Seva. That means, after Akhand Bhajan, that time, when we used to be there, then and all. And Swami also said, I want all the campuses to be here.
This project of Grama Seva started long back, and the part which was allotted to the girl students of Swami's educational institutions was the packing, which is to happen in the nights. Particularly the nights. Why? Because the food should not go bad by the time it reaches into the hands of the receiver. And that is why the Grama Seva packing used to get started in the nights at around 9:30 and would continue till morning, early hours of the morning by 2:33, 3:34. And this depended upon the number of packets which had to be packed for that particular night. And the number depended upon where the distribution had to take place. Accordingly, the rice was cooked, it was cooled, and was kept ready for mixing. The process of packing the food was demonstrated by Bhagwan himself, and the same process is being followed till date. Initially, Bhagwan himself used to come into the sheds, watch the cooking, taste the seasoning, and okay it for packing. The process of packing actually gets started the previous day afternoon itself, when the students of Bhagwan's school come to the sheds where the packing must happen in the nights and arrange the packing material. That is, a leaf is laid over a newspaper so that the packet could sustain the travel and the distribution and would remain fresh by the next day afternoon. The number, suppose, happens to be 35,000 or 40,000 for the next day distribution. The laying of the newspaper and the leaf is always done a 5,000 more than the required number. The total number of people who get benefited by participating in this beautiful program comes up to nearly 700, where Bhagwan's staff from super speciality, the Anandpur campus of the institute, the Ishwarama school and the primary school students participate together. The mixing is done by the staff and the students wearing gloves in their hands so that there is no doubt about the hygiene of the food. And this mixed rice is again heaped into big, huge units. Each unit contains around 50 kgs of rice. And the number of packets which should come out of this heap are also numbered. Around 350 grams of rice is the standard of each packet. And in case there is discrepancy in the number of packets, great care is taken to avoid it by measuring continuously the packets which are packed by the students. This packing happens along with singing of bhajans, creating a beautiful ambience of divine vibrations, passing on the love of Bhagwan and concern that flows into the packets and reaches out to each who partakes of these packets.
The enormity of this packing of saris and dhotis is something that stunned me when I went and saw there, though I have not been an actual part of it. When I went and saw, I saw almost 200 to 300 saris being packed every single day and loaded into 40-45 trucks, and that this happens for close to 9 days. Yes, quantity is one thing, but then in all Swami's projects, all of us understand that quality is what matters to Swami, and every single piece is being checked meticulously by the students who pack them, and the teacher in charge is continuously standing there inspecting that this process is maintained. And not just the quality, Swami has also specifically mentioned that the sari and the dhoti must be handed over to the elderly couple in the family and not just to anyone. This shows the level of detail to which Swami can go into.
Suffused with love and charged with his blessings, 40 conveyors, accumulating about 1,000 of us brothers and teachers, head out for numerous villages, known yet unknown, in Puttaparthi, Bukkapatnam and Kottacheruvu. As we leave, proud sonorous praises of Swami's divine name emanate, booming from every truck and filling onlookers with exhilaration. Sometimes these journeys lasted several hours, but would we care? For time mysteriously zoomed by, lost that we were in the collected fervor of singing bhajans and listening to each other's experiences with Swami. Besides, with every passing mile, our excitement only multiplied. Why, you wonder? Well, closer and closer we were to fulfilling our promise, earnest and eternal, to our Divine Mother, of sharing what has been shared with us and love as has been loved. as little children race with our conveyors in the sheer glee of our arrival, and we notice every family's gaze intent upon us. The feeling is akin to a child who has returned to his own mother after a year-long wait of enduring hope. Celestial vibrations fill nooks and corners as Swami's name is invoked, bringing Sai music into the communities and smiles upon the faces of young children. As we begin, arms loaded with Swami's prasadam, the people, these chosen beneficiaries of Swami's love, in their own humble ways welcome us, new and old, into their homes and hearts every single year, as though we are their own. Little is said, more is done, all with a smile and gentle Sai Ram on our lips. The giver, the given, and the giving are all, after all, one and the same. It is ensured that every household, every family, no matter how far and deep they might be in the village, they shall be sought for and served right at their doorstep. But then, what difference would a packet of rice and a pair of clothes make in the lives of these people, I wonder. And that day, as I saw that old lady's eyes well up with tears of gratitude, I realized that it was never about that one packet of rice or one pair of clothes. These were people unknown to the rest of the world, living their own lives, every day a challenge. The gratitude that I saw that day in their eyes was not of that rice packet or the pair of clothes that they received. It was the love that they were grateful for, the love of Sai that assured them that someone cares for them. No matter how far they are from the rest of the world, they still are loved for the sake of love alone. All this while, I used to think that these people were the beneficiaries and that we were being facilitators in a project started by our master. Little did I realize then that this was his grand game plan. For today, I see his master plan unfold when I see my childhood in each of these children. When I see my mother in all those mothers who stood with tears in their eyes and blessings in their smile. I see 1,000 lives touched by a small gesture that made them feel loved, cared for, and important. Even if just for a day, but a day every year, year after year. But then, my monkey mind asked, when I would pass out of this institute, how much of this could I do by myself, Swami? How could I do something even a tenth of this scale? Where would the funds come from? Would people even accept me? Well, he would probably reply, since when did you think that you are the doer? All that matters is to have a heart to serve and the willingness to put effort. The rest would follow. I look at this enormous amount of people, smiling faces, the unending convoy of trucks that came loaded with fresh and enthusiastic students are now returning with empty crates. Sweaty and tanned faces, tired limbs, but yet with a smile filled with contentment and hearts loaded with love and gratitude to our Master for giving this opportunity to come face to face with what the power of selfless love could achieve. Subtle are your ways, Swami, I said with tears in my eyes. When were they not? He would probably reply. That was when I realized that this was never about what I did in the Gram Seva, it was always about what Gram Seva did to me. Today, among the thousands of lives touched by Bhagwan Baba in these villages, there are yet another 1,000 lives touched who are traveling back in these trucks and tractors to their home away from home, Prashanti Nilayam, with the hope that many more such lives shall be touched. For today, there are thousands of Prashanti Nilayams across the world, lakhs of people ready to work relentlessly, charged with his energy, and 1,000,000 lives to be transformed. For this was just a beginning. I may or may not visit this village again, perhaps never meet these people again, but wherever I go, I shall search for them, for they exist in every part of the world, awaiting a loving gesture, a helping hand, a caring heart that would let them know that no matter how fast-paced this world might be, no matter how busy the lives of people therein be, no matter how tough anyone's life could be, there will always be some of us for whom they matter. Their smiles matter. Their lives matter.